3 days later, before dawn, Lin Jin stood outside the southern military training base of the 9th Safe Zone. The sky above the city was still gray-blue. Patrol lights along the high wall had not yet gone out, and beyond the wall, the wilderness pressed against the edge of the safe zone like a silent shadow. Lin Jin wore the ordinary uniform of 3rd High beneath a black jacket. He carried a simple training bag. From the outside, he still looked like a student who had only recently gone through awakening. No combat class uniform, no high-rank summoner badge, no symbol that connected him to the Ashes Reserve. Only the black blade mark hidden beneath his sleeve had deepened since the D-913 incident. For the past 3 days, he had not returned to school. The official explanation was mental overload after the Rift mission, requiring medical observation. The truth was that the military and the hospital had both examined him again and again. The results were strange. His body was damaged, but not seriously. His spiritual pressure remained low. His fate realm readings still looked like an F-rank unknown realm. But the pollution severance rate from D-913 was 100%. That number was not strange. It was terrifying. When the base gate opened, Han Tai led Lin Jin inside without unnecessary words. From today onward, Han Tai said, "You are no longer only a student of 3rd High." Lin Jin looked at the training fields beyond the gate. Ashes Reserve? Candidate status, Han Tai corrected. Do not get proud. Most candidates never become real Ashes members. Inside the base, the atmosphere was completely different from school. There were no spectators, no cheering classmates, no teachers trying to make students feel comfortable. Every person here moved with urgency. Every wall carried marks of combat training. Every field was built for survival rather than performance. The other candidates had already arrived. There were students from different schools and different fate realms. Lightning, Ocean Tyrant Body, Mechanical Divine Kingdom, Ancient Martial Arts, Beast Contract, Shadow Assassination, and Medical Support Systems. Their ranks were not low. Most were B rank or above. Several were A rank. Then Lin Jin walked in. The room went quiet. Someone whispered, "That is him? The F rank from 3rd High? I heard he killed the mutated body at D-913. With what luck?" Lin Jin heard all of it. He did not answer. A woman in a gray tactical coat stood at the front of the hall. Her hair was tied back, and her eyes were sharp enough to make most students lower their heads without realizing it. "I am Zhang Zhaoyue," she said. "Your instructor." Her gaze swept over everyone. "You were selected because your schools believe you may be useful on the front line. That does not mean you are strong. That does not mean you are special. It means someone has decided you are worth testing before you die somewhere embarrassing." Zhao Pang, who had come as a logistics support candidate, muttered from the back, "Teacher Han suddenly sounds gentle." Zhang Zhaoyue continued, "Ashes candidates train for situations ordinary students are not allowed to touch. Pollution cores, mental invasion, mutated rifts, failed fate realm contracts, human host contamination. If you cannot accept that, leave now." No one moved. Pride was sometimes louder than fear. The first test began immediately. Strength, speed, spiritual pressure, combat reaction, fate realm resonance. Lin Jin's numbers were still low, painfully low. Among the candidates, his spiritual pressure rank last the display panel showed his result clearly. And several students looked at him with doubt that was no longer hidden. An ancient martial arts candidate named He Shan frowned. With this level of spiritual pressure, how did he enter the Ashes Reserve? Song Weiyu, a shadow-type girl spinning a dagger between her fingers, smiled lazily. Maybe the Ashes need someone to carry files. Qin Yu, who had also entered the reserve after recovering from D-913, stared at Lin Jin with visible irritation. He had not forgotten that day. He had not accepted it either. Zhang Zhaoyue waited until the murmurs spread, then said, "Next test pollution severance simulation." The room changed. A sealed training chamber opened. Inside, a simulated starbone core pulsed beneath layers of false armor and interference arrays. The goal was simple: locate the core and destroy it without triggering a secondary pollution spread. The candidates tried one after another. Lightning damaged the shell. Fire burned the outer body. Ocean tyrant pressure crushed half the construct. Mechanical probes found unstable points but failed to isolate the real core. The best result before Lin Jin was a 62% severance rate. Then Lin Jin stepped in. He did not release impressive pressure. He did not call out a grand skill. He only looked at the construct for several seconds. In his vision, black lines filled the chamber. Some were false. Some were bait. Some were protection layers designed to mislead spiritual scans. But one thin line moved differently from all the others. It was the lie that held the core together. Lin Jin raised his hand. The rusted black blade appeared for only an instant. One cut. The simulated core went silent. The result flashed on the display. Pollution severance rate, 100%. The hall fell silent. Zhang Zhaoyue looked at the candidates. Lowest spiritual pressure. Then she looked at the number on the screen. Highest danger value. No one laughed after that. From that day onward, Lin Jin's position inside the reserve became strange. He was not the strongest. He could not win a simple contest of raw power. But whenever pollution cores, hidden contamination, or fate realm erosion appeared in training, all eyes eventually turned toward him. Shen Qing was the first to approach him openly. After a joint exercise, she stood beside him and said, "Your blade can cut what my lightning cannot." Lin Jin wiped blood from the corner of his mouth. "Your lightning can stop things before they reach me. Then we should form a team." He looked at her. Shen Qingyi's expression remained calm. "I am not saying this out of sympathy. I want efficiency." Lin Jin thought for a moment. Fine. That simple agreement changed their training results. Shen Qing struck down bodies and suppressed movement with lightning. Lin Jin found the pollution core and severed it. Together, they cleared simulations that other candidates struggled to complete. Qin Yu watched from a distance. His face dark. The more Lin Jin improved, the more Qin Yu felt the memory of D913 pressing against him. Finally, he challenged Lin Jin in an internal spar. The training arena filled quickly. Everyone wanted to see whether the F rank who could cut pollution could survive against Qin Yu's Ocean Emperor tyrant body in a direct fight. Qin Yu stepped into the arena. Blue spiritual pressure rolling around him like a rising tide. "This time," he said, "there is no mutated starbone for you to conveniently counter." Lin Jin stood across from him with empty hands. "Then what are we testing? Whether you are actually strong." Zhang Zhaoyue gave the signal. Qin Yu moved first. His tyrant body burst forward with overwhelming pressure. Every step cracked the arena floor. His fist came down like a hammer. Lin Jin did not meet it head-on. He retreated, then retreated again. To the watching candidates, it looked like he was being forced back without any ability to fight. Qin Yu's attacks grew heavier. "Is running your only skill?" Lin Jin's breathing was rough, but his eyes never left Qin Yu's body. He was not watching muscles. He was watching flow. The Ocean Emperor tyrant body was powerful, but power needed circulation. Spiritual pressure moved through invisible roots, reinforcing bone, blood, nerves, and fate realm resonance. And inside that circulation, Lin Jin saw nodes, not pollution cores, weak points, truths. Qin Yu punched again. Lin Jin stepped sideways at the last moment and touched two fingers against Qin Yu's wrist. A thin Black blade shadow flashed. Chin Yu's right arm suddenly lost strength. His expression changed. What did you do? Lin Jin did not answer. He moved again. Not fast, not powerful, but each touch landed exactly where Chin Yu's tyrant body needed to breathe. Wrist, shoulder, ribs, knee. One by one, the circulation nodes were cut off. Chin Yu's overwhelming pressure began to stutter, then collapse. He roared and forced all his spiritual pressure into one final strike. Lin Jin raised the rusted blade and stopped it with the flat of the weapon. The impact threw him backward, but Chin Yu fell to one knee first. The arena went silent. Lin Jin's hand trembled from the force. He looked exhausted, but Chin Yu had lost. Zhang Zhaoyu's voice broke the silence. The result is decided. Chin Yu looked up, eyes red with anger and confusion. You did not beat me with strength. Lin Jin replied. I know. That answer hurt more than mockery. Because it was true. Lin Jin had not overpowered him. He had dismantled him. That night, Lin Jin returned to the hospital to see Lin Xiaoman. She was awake when he arrived. The treatment chamber lights were soft, but her face was paler than before. Still, she smiled the moment she saw him. Brother, you look tired. Training. Did you win? Lin Jin paused. Barely. Lin Xiaoman laughed softly. Then her expression changed. I had a dream. Lin Jin sat beside her. What kind of dream? She looked at the ceiling. Voice very light. A white bone throne. A black star door. Someone was calling you from behind it. Lin Jin's body went still. In the black wasteland of his soul, the nameless soul envoy opened his blindfolded face toward the darkness. Lin Xiaoman whispered, Brother, that door, it felt like it was waiting for you. Lin Jin held her hand. It was only a dream. But inside his soul, the nameless soul envoy spoke for the first time about the name hidden behind the black blade. Soul Blade Royal Court. Lin Jin lowered his eyes. What is that? The envoy's voice was calm. The place your blade came from. And the place that should have remained buried. Outside the hospital window, the city lights flickered in the gray night. Lin Jin looked at his sleeping sister and understood that his awakening had not begun on that school platform. It had begun long before he ever touched the monument. And now, something behind the door had noticed him. Lin Jin originally thought the Ashes Reserve's first official assignment would be a rift cleanup. At the very least, he expected reconnaissance near the front line. Instead, 3 days later, Zhang Zhaoyue threw a notice onto the table in front of the 7th candidate group. The title was impossible to miss. 9th Safe Zone 6 School Young Summoner Challenge. He Shan frowned first. A challenge tournament? We are Ashes candidates. Why are we fighting students in an arena? Song Weiyu leaned back in her chair and spun a dagger between her fingers. Sounds better than being chased by simulated starbones every morning. Ji Yuxing adjusted his glasses. The 6th school challenge is not only a student competition. It affects quarterly resource distribution, academy slots, and military recommendation quotas. He Shan still looked confused. And what does that have to do with us? Zhang Zhaoyue stood at the front of the tactical classroom. Because the public needs to see young summoners who can still fight. Her voice was calm. D913 was covered up. But the schools know something happened. The military knows. The high-level families know. If rumors spread without a visible answer, fear grows. She tapped the notice. So the Ashes Reserve will participate as a special team. Lin Jin understood. They were not only competitors. They were a signal. The tournament hall was packed on the day of the event. 6 schools, military observers, family representatives, media teams, thousands of spectators behind protected barriers. When Lin Jin's name appeared on the roster, the crowd reacted immediately. F rank? Why is an F rank in the Ashes team? Is this a joke? The announcer did not mention D913. The public only knew that Lin Jin had awakened an unknown F-rank fate realm and had somehow entered the reserve team. That was enough to make him a target. His first opponent was a B-rank wind-type summoner from a ninja fate realm. The opponent stepped onto the arena with visible confidence. "I will try not to hurt you too badly," he said. Lin Jin looked at him. "Thank you." The answer made the crowd laugh. Then the match began. The wind-type student disappeared from his original position. His speed was excellent. Wind blades flashed from 4 directions. And for a moment, it looked as if Lin Jin had been completely surrounded. But Lin Jin did not chase the figure. He watched the flow. Every technique had a path. Every path had a knot. The wind blade came again. Lin Jin stepped half a pace forward instead of backward. The rusted blade appeared and cut through the empty air. The wind technique collapsed. The opponent staggered out of his movement path. Eyes wide. Lin Jin's blade stopped an inch from his throat. "You should concede," Lin Jin said. The crowd fell silent. 1 strike. The F rank had won with 1 strike. His second match was against a lightning-type genius who had clearly studied Shen Qingyi's combat style. Fast movement. Sudden bursts. Continuous pressure. The opponent attacked with the kind of confidence that came from knowing most people could not react in time. Lin Jin was injured almost immediately. Lightning tore across his shoulder. His arm went numb. The crowd began to breathe again, as if order had been restored. An F rank should lose. That was what everyone expected. But Lin Jin's eyes stayed calm. Lightning was faster than wind, but it also needed a path. The next strike came from the left. Lin Jin let the lightning graze him and stepped into the pain. His blade cut downward through a point no one else could see. The lightning current split. The opponent's technique shattered in midair. One more strike ended the match. This time, no one laughed. In the stands, Shen Qing watched without surprise. Qin Yu watched with a clenched jaw. He knew his match was coming. When Qin Yu finally stepped into the arena across from Lin Jin, the atmosphere changed. Everyone knew their history. The public did not know the truth of D913. But rumors had spread. People whispered that Qin Yu had been injured in the rift. People whispered that Lin Jin had somehow been present. Now they would fight in front of everyone. Qin Yu released the Ocean Emperor Tyrant body from the beginning. Blue pressure surged through the arena. The barrier rippled. His body moved with the weight of a crashing wave. This time, Qin Yu said, "I will not underestimate you." Lin Jin raised his blade. Good. The match was brutal. Qin Yu's raw power was far above Lin Jin's. Every collision drove pain through Lin Jin's arms. Every near miss shook the ground beneath him. Lin Jin's blade could cut nodes. But Qin Yu had learned from their last fight. He shifted his circulation constantly, forcing Lin Jin to search again and again. For the first time, Lin Jin was pushed to the edge in front of the crowd. Then he saw it. Not a weakness in Qin Yu's tyrant body. A stain. A faint residue hidden deep inside Qin Yu's spirit. Pollution left behind from D913. It had not fully awakened. But it was there. Qin Yu charged with everything he had. Lin Jin did not dodge. He stepped into the strike and cut. The rusted blade passed through Qin Yu's spiritual pressure and into the hidden residue. Qin Yu collapsed. Black mist leaked from his body for less than a second before the blade erased it. The crowd saw only Qin Yu fall. They thought Lin Jin had defeated him. Qin Yu understood something else. As medical staff rushed in, he stared at Lin Jin. "You." Lin Jin's face was pale. "You were not fully clean after the rift." Qin Yu's expression froze. He had not lost because Lin Jin wanted to humiliate him. He had been saved. That truth was heavier than defeat. Before the tournament could continue, the central arena's emergency system activated. Red lights flooded the hall. The exits sealed shut one after another. At first, the audience thought it was a technical malfunction. Then the first spectator stood up with black veins spreading across his neck. Then another. Then 3 competitors from another school collapsed and rose again with eyes full of starlight. The arena had been infiltrated. Starbone parasites hidden in human bodies had activated inside the safest public venue in the city. Panic exploded. Security teams tried to move, but the system locked them out from the wrong side. The central arena became a sealed cage full of students, civilians, and contaminated hosts. Zhang Jiaoyu's voice came through the internal channel. Ashes candidates. Protect civilians. Do not let the infected reach the lower stands. Shen Qing moved first, lightning cutting a path through the chaos. Qin Yu forced himself up despite his injury. Lin Jin looked across the hall and saw black lines spreading from several human bodies. But these lines were different from ordinary pollution. They were too deliberate, too human. The nameless soul envoy's voice was cold. They are not only monsters wearing human skin. They are looking for something. Lin Jin gripped his blade. What? The envoy answered. You. The parasite hosts turned toward him at the same time. In that moment, Lin Jin understood. The tournament had never been the target. The crowd was bait. The arena was a cage. And he was the key they had come to find. After the 6th school challenge incident, the 9th safe zone appeared to return to peace very quickly. At least, that was what ordinary citizens were allowed to see. The central arena was sealed for repairs. The news reported that the tournament had been suspended because of a spiritual energy system malfunction. Injured spectators received compensation. Students affected by abnormal resonance were sent to the hospital for stabilization. Everything was packaged as a controllable accident. No starbones. No parasites. No zero fate realm. And certainly no human skin turned into a beacon inside the city's most watched arena. But inside the Ashes Reserve, the atmosphere changed completely. The 7th candidate group's training intensity rose again. 5 in the morning. Gravity conditioning. Morning. Team coordination. Afternoon. Pollution identification and mental resistance. Night. Live combat simulations. Lin Jin received an extra course. Human parasite recognition. In the tactical classroom, holographic images appeared one after another. Ordinary faces. Normal bodies. Harmless smiles. Then the hidden black threads beneath the skin. Zhang Jiaoyue stood beside the projection. Starbone parasites do not simply possess bodies. The advanced ones can imitate emotional response, memory gaps, and fate realm fluctuation. She looked at Lin Jin. In other words, they can stand beside you and look human until the moment they decide not to. Lin Jin watched the projection. How many are inside the safe zone? No one answered. That silence was answer enough. Soon after, a captured parasite gave them the next clue. Its human shell had already begun to collapse. But before it died, it recognized the black blade in Lin Jin's hand. Its voice came out broken, layered, and filled with something that sounded almost like worship. The key, the door, 0. Then it smiled through a mouth that was no longer human. The door of the Zero Fate realm has opened. Lin Jin's grip tightened. The nameless soul envoy, silent in his soul, finally spoke. It knows too much. The parasite's body began to burn from the inside. Before it turned to ash, it left one final sentence. The Star-Lord will wake. The room became very quiet. No one in the Ashes Reserve treated those words as madness. Because every recorded Starbone disaster had begun with someone dismissing a warning as madness. 2 nights later, the Black Tower appeared outside the 9th safe zone. It rose from the southern wilderness without warning. One moment, satellite scans showed only ruined land and old battlefield scars. The next, A tower of black stone stood beneath the night sky. It was not tall enough to challenge the city wall, but its presence made the entire defense system sound alarms. Its surface was covered in carved symbols from the war 20 years ago. Some belonged to human military units that no longer existed. Some belonged to Starbone structures. And some, according to the nameless Soul Envoy, belonged to the Soulblade Royal Court. Chen Beixuan ordered a joint investigation. The military would hold the outer perimeter. The Ashes Reserve would enter the tower's lower layers. Lin Jin was included in the mission list. No one objected this time. At the tower entrance, the air felt ancient, not old, ancient. The moment Lin Jin stepped inside, the world changed. The interior of the Black Tower was not a normal space. It was a battlefield memory. Ash filled the air. The ground trembled beneath the march of countless starbones. Broken walls, burning vehicles, collapsed defense lines, and the cries of soldiers overlapped like echoes from another time. 20 years ago, Lin Jin realized it almost immediately. This was not an illusion made to frighten them. This was a fragment of a real battle. Then he saw the man with the black blade. The figure stood alone in a sea of starbones. Back straight, weapon in hand. Every time his blade moved, pollution lines snapped by the thousands. His coat was torn. His body was covered in blood. But he did not fall. Lin Jin's breathing stopped. The man's back looked exactly like the photograph of his father. Lin Junyue, the father who had supposedly died defending the outer city 10 years ago. The father whose name had never appeared in any official record of the Zero Fate realm. The battlefield shifted. Lin Jin saw soldiers pointing weapons not only at Starbones, but at the black-bladed man. He saw ceiling arrays descend from the sky. He saw the man's blade crack. He saw a child crying in someone's arms. Then the memory broke apart. The tower's deeper gate opened. Inside the lowest chamber, a broken fragment of a soul blade floated above an altar of black stone. The fragment was only a short piece, rusted and dull, but the moment Lin Jin saw it, the blade mark on his palm burned. The nameless soul envoy's voice turned heavier than ever before. That is part of Cinderless. Lin Jin stepped forward. Zhang Zhaoyue reached out to stop him. Do not touch unknown relics. But the broken blade had already noticed him. The chamber shook. Black ash rose from the altar and formed a circle around Lin Jin. Everyone else was forced back by an invisible pressure. Lin Jin stood alone before the blade fragment. Then the test began. It was not a test of strength. It was a test of will. Voices flooded his mind. You are F rank. You are dangerous. You are a mistake. Your father was a traitor. Your sister will die because of you. Every sentence became a blade. Every memory became a chain. Lin Jin saw the school courtyard again. The laughter. The monument. Qin Yu's mockery. The hospital bills. Lin Xiaoman's pale face. The starbone tied at the southern wall. The father who never came home. Then he saw the white bone throne. And behind it, a door. The nameless soul envoy stood before him. If your will breaks, the blade will eat you. Lin Jin's body trembled. And if I pass? Then Cinderless remembers you. The voices grew louder. Lin Jin reached toward the broken fragment. His hand bled before he touched it. The pain was unbearable, but compared with the fear of losing everything again, pain was simple. He grasped the fragment. The chamber went black. Then the rust on Cinderless began to peel away. Not completely, only a little. But beneath the rust, black flame burned. When Lin Jin opened his eyes, the blade in his hand was no longer only a rusted weapon. It was still old, still incomplete, but its edge had awakened. The nameless soul envoy spoke in the darkness. First release. Soul-cutting Cinderless. Outside the chamber, the black tower began to collapse. And somewhere far beyond the safe zone, Something vast beneath the stars turned its attention toward the ninth safe zone.